Hi, I'm Alvina Ling,
And I'm Grace Lynn.
and we're book friends.
Forever!
We're childhood friends,
Who grew up to be
a children's book editor.
and an author and illustrator.
Welcome to Book Friends Forever. This is the two topics, AI, book cancellation, and social media addiction episode.
And check out our website, bookfriendsforever.com, and our Instagram handle at bookfriendsforever_podcast. Alvina, how have you been?
I'm good. We're recording on a Monday, March 30th, because you're flying to Atlanta tomorrow, and then I'm flying to Atlanta, actually, coincidentally, on Wednesday. And so for me, we're setting off on our vacation. So we're flying from Atlanta to Madrid on Thursday. So very excited, getting ready for that. I'm in the office today and I'm using a very little microphone that I bought at the MoMA design store. So I think that
So
the
cute. But
audio
if you're
is probably
flying
okay.
from you're flying Atlanta to Madrid, I think you'll be okay for all the TSA mess
Okay.
because the international they say international is
Yeah,
clean and
that's what
easy.
we've heard too. And
Yeah.
also, apparently the TSA folks are going to be paid now. So I've heard that
Yeah.
it's not as bad. It's so
Yeah.
interesting. I just see, I hear different things. Like some people like, oh, I went to LaGuardia and I only waited like 45 seconds. And then someone else is like, I waited 3 hours. So
Well,
I think
yeah.
it's
I think
unpredictable.
I think it's unpredictable. I think it depends on what time your flight's at. So like I'm worried because my it seems I've been reading a lot about it. It seems like the early morning flights is the worst. And
Yeah.
I have an early morning flight on Thursday, so I'm like, "Ugh, do I have to get there like 4 hours early? I might have
Uh,
to. Like
well, then sometimes they can't do anything that early, you know?
yeah,
Um,
well, I've checked. It opens at 4. Like so I
oh,
was
okay.
like I said, I've been reading a lot. People are like get there at 3:30, they open at 4, so you're first in line. I was like, really? I
Uh,
don't know if I'm gonna do the 3:30, but I might be there at
yeah.
4,
Uh,
4:30.
well, I hope both of our travel goes smoothly. So for me, I've just been trying to get ready for this trip, and there are a couple things that I really had to do before I left. One is that I'm writing a profile for Jewell Parker Rhodes for the Hornbook, which is something that the Hornbook does for ALA Youth Media Award winners. I wrote one for you for The Legacy. I'd written one for Brian Collier when he won, I think it was for Knock Knock by Daniel Beatty. And this is for Jewell for Will's Race for Home. And it's not
Yay.
actually due until it's while I'm away, but I wanted to,
Mhm.
at least read a draft. So finished a draft on Saturday, and then I also wanted to start on my Burrow lecture, and so I did start that yesterday. And so I feel much better. I feel like okay, I it'll happen. They'll both will happen.
Let's give a shout out to the Burrell lecture, which is happening in the afternoon
On
of
Saturday, April 18th at 1 p.m. at the Carl Museum in Amherst, Massachusetts. So please, if you're somewhat local or within driving distance, or hey, want to travel for it? I mean, I don't know if I would travel a long distance for it, but
travel. Why not?
come on
And
out.
if you do travel, remember you can come to the Cutchins, I'm trying to find the exact name, but the Cutchins fundraising dinner the night before, which is April 17th. And if you come to this fundraising dinner, you will see me and Alex do our dance. As
Yay!
I'm a local star. We're doing
I am
Dancing with the Local
very,
Stars.
very excited to see that.
I
Coming
just
in
bought
early
this.
just for that.
I just bought this thing from ThreadUp, which is basically Alex likes to calls it my sequin lab coat. So it's like a lab coat, it's all sequins, so it's going to be part of my dance.
Oh my gosh, that's
I look
exciting.
like a I look like a disco ball.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing though I had to do is so I'm running a half marathon at the end of April, and I
Mhm.
realized that, because I usually do long runs on the weekends, and next weekend I'm in Spain. The following weekend I'm in Massachusetts, and then the following weekend is the half marathon. So I ran 8 miles yesterday, and
Wow,
I
good for
feel
you.
like that's going to be the longest I'm going to run. I don't think I'm going to do a long run when I'm traveling. I might bring in my running shoes and maybe try to squeeze in some short runs, but I don't see myself doing a 10-mile run. Although who knows,
Yeah.
but probably not.
But
I'll be
you'll be
walking a
walking
lot.
so much, so
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I'll stay in shape. I mean, I'll go really slow doing the half marathon. That's fine. And then the other just kind of fun thing that I did, so my friend Tracy Shaw, who I've mentioned, art director, she has a friend who hosts these sing-alongs, like kind of like a piano bar
uh-huh,
sing-along type of thing at a local bar. And I've just
uh-huh.
never been able to go, but they had one this past Saturday and it was 80s night. And so I went and it was so much fun. I got to
Aw, did they play Debbie
sing.
Gibson?
Funny you should say that because so it's hosted by this guy named Ethan and then Ethan's wife Joe. They have a kid who's Tracy's kid's age. That's how they all know each other. And so Ethan hosts it with another singer named Emma, and then Joe kind of co-hosts it, but she doesn't. I mean, she'll sing along, but she's not. But she really wanted to sing a Debbie Gibson song, so she had added "Lost in Your Eyes," and the clientele was a mix. It was at the beginning someone asked like who here was born in the 80s, and maybe a third of the room raise their hands. Who here was born before the 80s, and maybe 20% raise their hand. And then who here was born after the 80s, and then the rest. So it was a
Oh,
nice mix,
uh-huh.
but I will say that it seemed like Joe and I were the only ones who knew Lost in Your Eyes. So I was just singing it. I was sitting in the back and I was just singing along. And then someone like handed me the microphone because no one else knew the song. So we basically serenaded each other, and it was
Aw,
it was lovely.
a duet.
Yes. Anyway, how have you been?
Good, good. I've been practicing for art dance, like I said, and I got part of my costume so far, so that'll be fun. Getting ready to go to Atlanta tomorrow, which we've talked about. Let's see. Uh, this past weekend on Saturday, I we went to Boston to see the Gunquack Year of the Horse showcase, which was really great. Gunquack is the first all Asian American woman Chinese lion dance troupe in the United States. Um, and they were doing this big showcase where they were not just doing the lion dances, but they were doing the dragon dance, and they were doing a horse dance and a snake dance, and all these things. Basically, it was their showcase to show all the awesome dances they do. And it was also a fundraiser for, um, I want to get the name right. It was a fundraiser for uh, volunteer network. BJON, Boston Immigration Justice Accompaniment Network. So basically, it's to help any families that have been affected by ICE in the Boston
Mm.
area. So it was a really good cause, and it was a really awesome showcase. And I've known about Gunquack for a long time, and I've always thought it would make a really great book, like a really great picture book, like the first all Asian American woman line dance troupe, since traditionally women were not allowed to do the line dance, but I've never really quite gotten the story to something I really like. So I'm throwing it out there to the world. Like someone do a book about this because
Yeah.
I don't think it's for me to do. Because otherwise I would have come up with a story by now. So someone else do it. So someone do a story about them. Um, that is what we did on Saturday. It was really great. We also sold Girl Scout cookies there,
I
which
just
was
ate
great.
two do-si-dos at my desk before this
Yay!
recording.
I have a feeling when you come here, we will be gifting you more.
I have a box of them under my desk, but that's
We will be
okay.
gifting everybody Girl Scout cookies. And so, yeah, and then I've been doing my taxes.
Mm.
Do my taxes. I've in the last two things I'll mention because it kind of fits in with our topics. I've been seeing everybody at TLA online, and I've been trying to fight my TLA FOMO, being like, "Oh man, everyone's there and selling their books and talking about their books and they're getting together." It's like trying to fight that FOMO. And also, today is the deadline for filing an Anthropic claim if you're an author.
Oh,
So. That's the other thing that I've been checking. I'm a little confused because I filed one a long time ago, but I didn't add my anthologies that I w was a part of. So I'm like, so I tried to add it, but I couldn't because that ID, that unique ID didn't work. But they had sent me like three other unique IDs. So I was like, should I use another unique ID? Like, I was like, I'm not sure what to do because I'm afraid it'll mess up my claim from before. So I'm like, I don't know. So
That's
hopefully I
confusing.
figure it out before the end of today.
Speaking of FOMO, I was talking to an author and she mentioned that her colleague has fogey, fear of getting invited, because he doesn't want to go anywhere. So just think about it. Just think, okay,
Yeah, I
well,
mean, that's the whole thing when I see these conferences like TLA and stuff and it looks so awesome and like but there's also I also know that like I don't really want to go like I
yeah,
want to go but I don't want to go.
yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I was maybe going to go to TLA as well, but I knew it was so close to this trip, and so I
Mhm.
basically said, I'll go if you need me to go, but and luckily they did not end up needing me to
Yeah.
go. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I do love going to them. It's just
It's interesting. I guess it's like all trips for me. It's like the dread of go like the
yeah,
dread of going is like I don't want to get on the plane. I don't want to go. I don't want and then you're there and you're like, hey, this is not too bad. But then the whole thing is like if you're not there at all, then you're
hmm.
like, oh man, they're having such a good time. So
That's
who knows?
true. All right, so we're doing two topics, and I guess they're both kind of internet related, so maybe
Hmm.
they're related. So the first is about this book called Shy Girl by Mia Ballard. And Shy Girl was self-published first by the author, and then it was picked up by Hachette, which is my company. But I will say I don't know any, I don't have any insider information. But so it was published already in the UK, and it was going to be published in the US.
And this is an
But
adult book.
it's an adult book. I think it's horror adjacent. And I guess as soon as it was published, even self-published, there was some chatter that it was maybe published using AI, or that the
Hmm.
author had used AI. So that chatter existed. It got picked up, again, published in the UK, and then the New York Times did a article, and I guess they reached out to Hachette about the use of AI, and I think they had done some analysis, and according to one person, the one program that they ran it through said it was 78% written by AI.
Oh.
Ultimately, Hachette announced that they were canceling
Hmm.
the publication, and then the UK also said that they were doing the same. The author basically denies using AI to write it, but did admit that she had a friend help edit the book, and that the friend had perhaps used AI in the
Poor
editing
friend getting
process.
thrown under the bus.
I know, but
These very youthful friends.
I think for me, what what it brought up was, so the article used some examples of some, I guess, tells. And
Hmm.
because, as I've mentioned before, I don't use AI, I actually don't know what these tells are. But some of it just seems like it's just, I don't know, like tropes. Or so, for example, they did say certain phrases, including the pause felt like a knife in my chest, sharp and unyielding. And then, so I think it's this, the use of
That's just,
unyielding is a tell, but I
is it I just feel like that's just like cliche writing though.
right, exactly. So I think my concern reading this made me feel like I don't know if I would recognize AI writing if I read it
Hmm.
on submission.
Hmm.
Um, I think I might say, oh yeah, maybe it's just cliched, and I think when they picked this up, it wasn't because they thought it was literary. I think they just thought it was a fun horror commercial page turner,
Hmm.
is my understanding, or what I would assume. So I just don't know if I would be able to tell. And so we do have a clause in our contracts that say that authors and illustrators have to let us know if they're
Hmm.
using AI. And then if they tell us how it's used, then we can determine whether or not we can publish it or not. And it's basically
Hmm.
because, well, we don't really like AI, but also
You
it's
can't
not,
copyright
you can't
AI.
copyright.
Hmm.
It has to be original work. Um, but it's kind of the honor system, like
Yeah.
we're not putting through all of our manuscripts through a system to tell whether or not something is AI, and I don't know how accurate those systems are anyway.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just hope this
Yeah.
doesn't
I mean, I think it's
happen.
always been kind of a weird honor system when it comes to publishing. I feel like,
Like
yeah, it's like
plagiarism, for
plagiarism.
example. Yeah.
Yeah, like plagiarism. And also even facts, honestly. Like I know for like a
Yeah.
lot of like books early on, I'm not sure if it's still like this, but like, like it'd be like the snail has 14 spots and like the editor's like, does the snail only has 14 spots? And, like, and you just kind of trust that the author knows what they're talking about. Like, I guess so. Like she must have looked it up and found out. Like it's not like especially like in a picture book where they're going to like according to Encyclopedia Britannica, like
Right.
so.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and
so
it depends on if it's nonfiction versus fiction, or
yeah,
yeah. Um, well, okay, so basically, if people are interested in reading more about it, there were two articles in the New York Times. Actually, I noticed there was also an op-ed about this. One was just on the kind of the facts of it, and that, well, let's see. One article said AI is writing fiction. Publishers are unprepared. Book publishing
yeah,
has few safeguards in place to prevent the unwitting publication of a novel heavily generated by artificial intelligence. So that,
yeah. I think that's kind of true.
and then the
I mean, I
other,
guess the only thing you can do is say that like if the author is lying, they have to pay you back all the money, right? But
yeah, but then how would you, like if it's already printed, if it's, how would you
yeah.
calculate all of that?
I
And
mean,
then
they
the
just have to
other,
pay the advance, obviously,
yeah,
but
and the
even
other
it's
article
still a
was
loss.
horror novel Shy Girl canceled over suspected AI use.
But I do think it's good that it was canceled because I mean, it shows it kind of gives for it sounds terrible. It makes an example of it. Like if you use AI, we're going to cancel you,
Yeah,
like cancel your
yeah.
contract, so authors don't be dumb,
I
so
think what's interesting is I do feel like people outside of publishing don't see the big deal about AI. I mean, the big deal of it being wrong, right? Because
yeah,
so many of my friends who are outside of publishing, they use AI all the time. They use it to write memos. They use it like
yeah,
it's integrated into their life, and I think they're surprised to
yeah.
find out how horrified I think authors and editors and just and publishing people
Yeah.
are.
In art too, like I think like everybody who's in the art field is like horrified by AI, like, but everyone who's not in the art field is like, what's the, like so cool, so fun. It's like, and I'm just like, I
Yeah.
don't know, it's an
Um,
education problem. It's like, I don't
I
know.
think it is an education problem. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's impossible well, it's not impossible, but it feels impossible to fight because they're just funneling these companies are just funneling so much money to make AI part of our lives, even if we don't want it to be. So,
Yeah. I mean, I still use DuckDuckGo, so I'm not getting AI in my search results. Um, there is another follow-up article in Publishers Weekly that's the headline is As AI Discourse Rages, Publishing Has More Questions Than Answers.
mm,
And it quotes a lot of agents. So, for example, one agent says, communication and transparency is what I feel was the downfall here, and where we all as an industry need to improve when it comes to AI. Um, yeah, basically, this is Jennifer Weltz, who's an agent, said that history is doomed to repeat itself unless authors and publishers find a way to talk about AI use.
yeah.
Because it's true, I actually don't. If I'm editing, if I'm reading a submission, if I'm editing with the author, I actually don't ever ask the author, "Have you used any AI to write
Oh,
this?" Again, it's in the contract, and so they're supposed to disclose it, but I don't ask anyone. I'm pretty sure they're not, but I don't know. Are you, Grace?
no, I can, like it's to me it's very strange if they used AI, but because I feel like it's making books, it's not a high money like it's not a is the payoff isn't that big, you know? So
Right. That's true.
like why cheat? You know, like but I guess the thing is to so many people it's not cheating, you know? Like they think just coming up with the idea is enough. And I
Yeah.
think that's where the big disconnect is. Like think they think the idea is the content, not the execution. And no, it's both. Like and honestly, it's more execution, really. Everybody like I think that's where the disconnect is. A lot of people don't understand that ideas are a dime a dozen. You know,
Right.
like it's every person that comes up to me like, I got a great idea for a children's book. I was like, I got 10 million, you know,
Right.
like
Well,
like
actually, we didn't talk about this, but there's that case of Tracy Wolff, the author of Crave, was being sued by another author who accused her of basically plagiarizing and copying her book, and it finally was ruled that it wasn't plagiarizing because, basically there was a quote that said something like, like sad, sad boys, that, the protagonist is lusting after is not copyrightable. Like you can't,
yeah,
it's just like tropes, right?
yeah.
And then it is all about the execution. And so the judge like read all the drafts and all the books and like, no, like this is not plagiarizing. Like you can't
Yeah.
copyright this
And
stuff.
that's the thing. And I think that's what's been lost in the general public is like, and I'm not sure why, but maybe it's because so few people have written books, you know, like so
Yeah.
everybody wants to write a book, and so few people really have gone through the whole process of it. So uh it's probably something in that in there. It's like the
Yeah.
idea is so tantalizing. They want to say they have written a book rather than actually
Yeah.
doing it.
Do you think are you at all nervous that this might result in books being accused of, being written using AI that haven't been? Um, because
Um,
for example, I remember, I don't know, this is maybe when Twitter still was around, or we had published a book, and I saw some chatter that said like, oh, this AI cover is terrible, and it wasn't AI. It was an
uh-huh,
artist who did this. So I feel like people's education about it,
uh-huh.
like for example, when everyone's saying, oh, if you use M dashes,
Yeah.
that's a sign of
I saw
AI.
something stupid on threads like don't use similes or metaphors because that's an AI tell. I was like, don't use similes and metaphors.
I
Like,
mean, the thing is, people have to remember that AI was trained on our books. So
yeah,
anything that AI used is because it came first in books.
yeah.
So
As um, I think honestly, what's going to happen, and this I've been thinking about this for a while, and I think I might have said this before the um on the podcast. What's going to become more and more important, and it's kind of a little sad. It's going to be less about someone's work, especially when it comes to art. Um, and it's going to be more about the story behind the work that will count more, or at least you know how we in years past it's always been like separate the art from the artist, separate the art from the artist. And I think with the advent of AI, um, the what will give art its value will be the artist behind it,
mm,
because you will think about like to me, like when I buy one of Anna's mugs, like it's so much more valuable to me because I know that this person, like even if I didn't know Anna, but like I know this person has spent this time like building this mug, drawing on it, and like crafting it, and like I know the time and the effort that went into it and the love that went into it, and who knows if I just saw that mug in a store, would I still have this connection of like this was an object that was made with love? Who knows? But the fact
right,
that I
because you
know
might
that,
not know. Yeah, you might, or
yeah,
it might say handcrafted, but
yeah, but now
you
that
don't know for
but the
sure.
fact that I do know,
Hmm.
like makes it feel so much more precious and so much more valuable. And I feel like that's the kind of thing that is going to be more important. And that's something that social media has brought. Like that's why like people want to know who the author is. People want, like they want to know. And so like if the author is able to say, this is my book that I created and I created it because I was inspired by these seven cats in China and this and this and this. Like, like all of a sudden that has so much more meaning because this like this came from somebody's
Hmm.
gestation, somebody's like all of their thoughts and coming together and creating something that was completely human. Versus like if you just pick it up and not know those things, you may or may not feel as connected. So I don't know. I think it's kind of sad, but I do think that's kind of the way we're going. It's like the artist's story, the story behind the story is going to become much more important.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. Well, maybe people will start suing AI companies, which is leads us to our second topic, which is about the social media companies Meta and YouTube were being sued. And the person suing was a young person, a young user who claimed that their platforms were addictive and led to her mental health distress. So a jury found, I think this was last Wednesday, that they were guilty. And so in the New York Times, there's a paragraph that says the bellwether case, which was brought by a now 20-year-old woman identified as KGM, had accused social media companies of creating products as addictive as cigarettes or digital casinos. Citing features like infinite scroll and algorithmic recommendations, KGM sued Meta, which owns Instagram and Facebook, and Google's YouTube, claiming they led to anxiety and depression. Um, I think this is really interesting.
I think it's really interesting. And, about 5 or 6 years ago, if I heard this suit, I would have been like, that's ridiculous. But actually now, after like kind of reading all these books and all this reading these articles and like that whistleblower of Facebook she was like, no, they know what they're doing. Like after like
Mhm.
reading, I'm like, I think they should have been fined a lot more than they were. I mean, at least they're guilty. At least I think the verdict was correct. But I'm kind of surprised it wasn't more. Like,
Well, we'll see also if the Supreme, if I'm sure it'll be,
yeah,
what's it called? They will
bring
reject.
it up higher courts. Yeah,
Yes. What is that called? They are
appeal.
appeal. Yes, yeah. They'll appeal it. Maybe it'll go up to the Supreme Court, and we'll see. Um, I think I think, and this is going back to common sense, is that I think all of us have felt addicted to social media, of those of
Yeah,
us who use social media. And so I think I'm not surprised that juries would agree with this woman
yeah.
saying like, yes, it is addictive. It is, I
And they
think we've
design it
all
that
been
way.
stuck into this. I mean, when I was still on TikTok, I would just keep scrolling, and
Yeah.
and sometimes every now and then Stephen and I will still scroll on YouTube, and then we'll say, okay, just one more, and
Yeah.
before you know it, it's three more, and then you're stuck.
Yeah. It's really
Yeah, and if
like
we as adults, as middle-aged adults,
mhm.
get addicted, then I do think children definitely, and I mean, I see it in my nieces and nephews. They're definitely
Yeah. I,
addicted.
I think I think if there's warnings on movies, like there should at least be I think there should be more than just warnings, but there should be at least warnings on social media, like and then well, it's
Yeah.
interesting because in China they've just passed a law where minors are not allowed to be used um, on social media, like parents
Oh, like an
or anything like that.
influencer can't use
Yeah,
a
you can't
child.
use a child.
Interesting.
Um,
Hmm.
and I thought that was really interesting, and I actually kind of think that's a good idea too. Like, um,
That is a good idea. Although I do love seeing adorable children on
yeah.
social
But
media
the problem is like trying to find the line between look at my cute kid versus like my
and
cute kid
making,
selling you this thing,
yeah, and I'm making lots of
um,
money from, yeah, my
and I
cute
think
kid.
what China is doing is we're just gonna be on the side of no, like too bad, don't share cute kids, too bad.
Mhm.
Like,
Well, in Australia, didn't they? I think they banned social media use for
or
teenagers. I think up to
yes,
16, is it? I can't
yeah, and
remember.
I kind of think that's good too. Like,
Yeah. Well, so did you hear that Happiness Lab episode where they talked about the study where okay, so the example is if you have a $10 movie ticket,
Hmm.
You have agreed that you're going to pay $10 to see this movie. And then you're asked, like, what would it take you to not see this movie? And usually it's the $10 that I paid. If you pay me
Yeah.
$10, then I won't see the movie. But when
Uh-huh.
it comes to social media, and maybe the difference is social media is free right now, but if
Uh-huh.
you ask someone how much would you pay to use social media, the answer is zero.
Hmm.
But if you ask them how much would it take for you to not use social media,
Yeah, to quit. Yeah.
they
It
usually
was
say
like
about,
thousands of dollars.
yeah, or let's say 100, right?
Yeah.
So this person did a study where they paid people $100 to not use social media for a month, and then they all reported having a better life without social media. And even so, when asked at the end of the month, how much would it, how much would you pay to be on social media? That was still zero, but how much would it cost you to get off social media? And they still gave like it, I think it went down to $87 on average, but
Uh-huh.
they still, so it did go down, but people still
Yeah,
wanted a
even though it
lot
was
of,
good for them.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's the FOMO. It's yeah,
It
I
is the
listened to that
FOMO.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But I think
completely
they
the
said
FOMO.
if everyone else is also not on social media, then the answer is zero to get off.
Yeah. And I feel really, I mean, okay, I'm not saying I'm a great parent, like, but I think
You are.
the one smart thing that we did, which actually was not really what was not any brilliant move on my part, but just happened to be the preschool that we went to, was that there was like a cohort of parents that said, wait till 8, right? So
Hmm.
like so Hazel didn't get a phone at the end of seventh grade. We didn't give her a phone, but she got a watch, like so she could connect with
Hmm.
friends because and so she has just been, so she connects with friends all the time, but she is not on social media at all, like, because you can't get on social media on the watch. And she got in such a habit of the watch is that when she finally did get the phone, she's like, this is too hard. And she's so used to using the watch. So she's not, the most social media she watches is when I send her a funny reel that that I think like, you should see this, that she's not on social media at all. And I feel like it's been really good. Um,
Hmm.
but I think to go back to what I was saying, I think that the reason why it works so well is because there was like 4 or 5 other families who also agreed we weren't going to give their kids phones until end of middle school, and
Yeah.
so it was always like so and so has a phone, yeah, and I was like, but she doesn't, and she, because we all agreed. So I
Hmm.
feel like it is kind of that idea of if nobody had social media, then we'd all be okay with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I know there's a push for like wait till 14, I think, 14
yeah.
years old. Like, so, I mean, I
Especially because
hope.
they were talking about the brain development. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now that people are aware, and honestly, it is like smoking, right? I think
Yeah.
so many people smoked and then they finally realized, oh, it not only is it addictive, but it also causes cancer.
Yeah.
I think smoking rates went down. Although
Yeah.
I've heard that smoking is making a comeback.
Yeah, smoking's actually come back because people are so depressed about the future. They're like, screw it. That's what I read.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, anyway, let's try to get off social media and I'm not smoking.
And not
We
start
don't smoke.
smoking. Let's
Yes.
let's
Let
let's
let
not
us
smoke.
not. All right.
All So, okay, so let us do one of our tell me abouts, which I know some people forget what the tell me abouts are, but this is where one of us asks the other about one of the books that we worked on, and the other tells hopefully a little bit of the backstory that maybe you didn't know before. So, Alvina, please tell me about Ghost Boys by Jewell Parker Rhodes.
Well, thank you for asking. I have a copy right here. Ghost Boys by Jewell Parker Rhodes. So the reason why I was thinking about telling everyone about this book is because I was working on this profile of Jewell Parker Rhodes. And I kind of went down the rabbit hole of, when we started working together. So we published Jewel's first middle grade novel, Ninth Ward, and her original editor was Jennifer Hunt. And I first met Jewell, I think it was at an ALA when she was getting the author honor for Ninth Ward. And I remember, I think I met her at a family dinner, and I remember asking her if she had written her speech yet, and she actually hadn't yet. But I think either the next day or the day after, she saw me and said, I wrote it. So, I just loved her immediately. She's known for, her really warm hugs. But I didn't have the honor of working with her until later. So first Jennifer Hunt left, and then I was given Jennifer's editorial director of fiction role. And when that happened, I had such a huge list already, and I just could not fathom how I could do that job and edit all the books, let alone inherit other authors from Jennifer, even though I would have loved to have worked with Jewell. So Jewell ended up working with another editor, Liza Baker. But I was overseeing fiction, so I was still getting to work with her, and I think I still read all of her books. And then Liza left. So Liza left right while Jewell was writing a book called Towers Falling, which is a book about September 11th from the point of view of a child who wasn't alive when September 11th happened. And so we worked on that together, and she made it known that she was open to book ideas. And she, I think Towers Falling, took her away from historical fiction into something a little more contemporary. And I think this was 2014 or 15. And, sadly, all of this police brutality was in the news. There's Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice. And, I knew Jewell had a little bit of a social justice um, mission when it came to children's books, and I did as well. And so also The Hate You Give and All American Boys were being published for young adult. And, Tamir Rice was 12 years old. Like this violence was being
Was happening to.
impressed, yeah, upon middle grade aged readers, children. So I mentioned this to Jewell. She thought about it, and then she decided she wanted to write it. And so I remember I feel like her first draft was, like 30 pages, and she said, I'm done. And, I know it's like a really hard book to write, so just like we kept working, and it was so beautiful. I mean, so she grew up during the time of Emmett Till, and so she made Emmett Till like a ghost character in this book, which I thought was really, really smart. But it really opens with this boy kind of as a ghost, looking down on his
Mhm.
his body. So it's really sad. Um, it's really powerful. He ends up befriending the daughter of the police officer who shot him. Um, and uh, I'm really, really proud of the book. I'm really happy that Jewell wrote it. I do know she poured her blood and sweat and soul and tears into this writing of this book, which is why, when she, 4 books later, she was writing Will's Race for Home, and she kept sending me emails saying like, I'm having so much fun. And I thought, this is great. This is how I'm glad that she has a little bit of she's able to write a fun book, because
Uh-huh.
I don't think you could say that this was a fun book to write. But it did become her first New York Times bestseller, and it just has done so well. And we just published the graphic novel adaptation of Ghost Boys last year. So that is Ghost Boys by Jewell Parker Rhodes.
I think it's so interesting, like about books, fun books to write versus like important books to write. Like there's books that you just feel like you have to write and get like out of you, but it's so painful. And then there's books like la 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 la.
Yeah, and I mean, I think as an editor, I feel lucky that I'm able to work on so many different types of books, but I think
Mhm.
as writers, you can alternate if you want. I mean, the book Jewell wrote right after was Black Brother, Brother, which had
Mhm.
some heavier themes, but in overall, it was basically a novel about a fencing
Yeah.
competition. I remember
Well,
saying, "Oh, it's
compared to
kind of
Ghost
like,
Boys, it was lighter.
yeah, it's kind of like Karate Kid
Yeah.
with fencing." So, yeah. All right. So now we'll end as we always do with what we're grateful for. Grace, what are you grateful for?
Oh gosh, I completely forgot about this part, which is
I can go first,
yes,
because
why don't you
actually
go
mine
first?
mine is related. So I am grateful for Jewell Parker Rhodes. We
Oh.
actually just announced that she has launched a fellowship. It's the Jewell Parker Rhodes Emerging Writer Fellowship. And it is going, or actually, I think the official title is the Jewell Parker Rhodes Fellowship for Emerging Voices. So it's for middle grade writers. The recipient will receive a $10,000 grant along,
Wow.
along with 2 rounds of feedback with an LBYR editor, which will be Crystal Castro, my assistant, and a visit to our New York offices. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
amazing.
it's open right now, and I think it's open for a month or two, so it's definitely going to be still open when
So
you
this
hear
is for
this.
somebody who has not been published before.
Yes, so
Can
let's
you be
see if I
early
can
public? Can
find.
you be like just published like one book? Like I know
I
that
think for this one, it is you can be, but we
not
did
published.
discuss that, but in the end, I think we just thought we'd get way too many.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so
That's
it's
great though.
prospective writers of middle grade fiction.
Oh, that's
Yes. But
awesome.
it's so the idea is that it's unpublished work that centers on historically underserved communities.
Uh-huh.
So yes. Anyway, very exciting. So thankful for Jewel and yeah,
Yeah.
thankful for this fellowship. Okay.
Yeah. And I guess I'll piggyback onto that too. I'm thankful for people who do this kind of good fight. Like when I was like I said, I was at Gunquawk and and it was a fundraiser for the Boston Immigration Justice. I'm sorry, missing Association Network. Yes, and the person who was organized, like was going to receive the funds, gave up and did a talk and was saying how they take the money and what they do with it. And it was just like, like the people who are like really on the ground and really doing these things, to really like help people in need, like it's really amazing. And I'm so grateful for them. I feel kind of ashamed that I don't, but I'm still really, really grateful for them that they have done things. And I'm grateful that I'm able to help in those small ways, like to actually go to the event, to actually support the event, like those,
Hmm.
like even though it's nothing compared to what they do, at least it's something. So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
grateful for that.
we need everybody.
Yeah.
Um, I just have the page open, so I'll just mention some more details. So submissions are open until April 17th. And you have to submit the first 3 chapters of a novel targeted at a middle grade audience, plus a synopsis. And you have to be unpublished or self-published, as well as unagented.
Oh.
You have to be a legal resident of the 50 United States and the District of Columbia, and you have to be 18 years of age or older as of February 25th, 2026. So there we go. Anyway,
Well,
I
can't wait to
know.
see
I'm excited too.
who gets it. So
And
yeah.
because I was, Crystal really helped put this together in house, along with our DEI director,
Mhm.
Sarah Munchak. And I know we discussed a lot. At first, it was going to just be middle grade historical fiction, and then I thought
Mhm.
maybe they thought maybe that was too narrow. And then I think they also were like going to ask for the whole manuscript. But so I think it's just it's unpredictable because I kind of felt like if it's a full manuscript, unpublished, historical fiction, how many submissions are they going to get? I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
But 3 chapters, middle grade, I think they're going to get a lot,
Yeah.
a lot of
That's true.
submissions.
Because if you say full, you would have gotten a lot less, which could be good and bad,
Yeah, or maybe we would have gotten some AI assisted
Yeah, it's true.
manuscripts to help them finish the whole thing. I don't know. Yeah, actually, I wonder if they did put some AI language. I know that they talked about that,
Oh
but
yeah,
anyway,
they probably should.
don't apply if you're using AI.
Yes. Don't use
That's a good
AI.
slogan. Don't apply if you use AI. All right, and that was the 2 topics: AI book cancellation and social media addiction episode. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to Alex at Pacey Studio for editing this podcast. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and tell a friend about it.
And tag us on social media using the hashtag BookFriendsForever, or send us a message via Instagram at BookFriendsForever_podcast, or via our website, BookFriendsForever.com. Don't forget, we do have a website. And please join our Patreon. The link is in the show notes.
I'm Alvina Ling, and you can find me at Alvina Ling on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Threads.
And I'm Grace Lynn, and you can find me at Pacey Lynn on Instagram and Threads, and author Grace Lynn on Facebook.
Have a great week.
And don't forget to read and buy books.